Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, a recent discussion at the OECD Global Blockchain Policy Forum in Paris is triggering rumors of a partnership between Ripple and Coinbase. The head of Ripple's Global Institutional Markets team, Brianne Madigan, joined a panel on regulation in digital finance. When talking about Ripple's XRP-powered cross-payment solution known as XRapid, Madigan used Coinbase as an example of a company that could use XRapid to move value around the world. She said, and I do quote, "We signed the deal with MoneyGram to help facilitate their cross-border flows. So there's an example of, say, someone who lives in the US and wants to send Mexican pesos back to Mexico. So the way it works is, through our partnership, we send MoneyGram's flow to one of what we call our originating exchanges. Say it's Coinbase in the US as an example. The US dollar gets swapped to XRP there, and then they get sent across to the border to a local exchange in Mexico, call it Bitso in this example. Bitso then takes the XRP and swaps it into local Mexican pesos. And that consumer, or MoneyGram's end consumer client, will receive Mexican pesos directly, and so we've delivered significant cost savings to MoneyGram in that example, significant efficiency, and so that's a real value proposition to a company that's affecting the end consumers before or because their fees will be lowered as a result," end quote. I'm not going to read anymore because her quotes continue to kind of like go on for quite a long amount of time. The speculation is, for those who didn't catch on maybe, before in the past, Ripple as a company is quite interesting in that they leave breadcrumbs, sometimes entire loaves of bread right before our eyes. And they as a company are usually, at least as far as we've seen thus far, very careful about what they say and who they say it to and how they say it. Sometimes they slip. I think a lot of these aren't really slips. I think they're just kind of flexing their muscles, as it were, within the cryptocurrency space to let people know exactly what they're doing or potentially plan on doing in the near future. Once again, the speculation being that they probably, or she would probably not have ever said the word Coinbase if Ripple and Coinbase did not have a good relationship amongst themselves. You don't say the name of your worst enemy when talking about something that your business is associated with, and the other part being that there may already potentially be, no one knows, speculation, already be a partnership between Ripple and Coinbase. Why? Because we've already seen before, for those of you who do not know, at the beginning of this year, beginning-ish of this year, Changpeng Zhao, who is the CEO of Binance, hinted at a partnership with Ripple in using XRapid on the Binance platform. So that's kind of the speculation, if you kind of want to have it this way. As of right now, Ripple and Coinbase within the United States are the most open institutions to regulation, or rather have been around for so long that they're usually some of the largest names within the cryptocurrency space. I would not be surprised if this does end up coming true. There were speculations. There was speculation before, even when for a very long time the people from Coinbase had not added XRP to their platform, and all of a sudden they did. Apparently, as they did this, or right before they did this, or like a day or two after they had actually added XRP to their platform, I believe they had changed their, what was it? It was like their listing procedures. Like you had to do this, and this in order to be able to be listed on Coinbase. That was changed, and then XRP was added to the platform. So, regardless if you like a coin or not, it's money. If a company like Coinbase can realize that they can make potentially 5, 10, 15 million a year from having something added onto them, they're probably going to do so. The most interesting part is that, once again, normally major companies don't announce or list the names of another company who they don't like, are not associated with, or may be trying to take their business in a positive, nice light. And normally, like I said before in the past, the people from Ripple tend to say information, whether they mean to or not, about future upcoming partnerships. And anyway, that is the Ripple / Coinbase / Binance / futures / speculation news for today. Yeah. Next up, Harbor has pivoted from helping companies issue security tokens to helping them tokenize existing securities. Announced on Monday, the startup has created tokens on the Ethereum blockchain representing the share of 4 real estate funds worth $100 million US. No, I don't think so. I was going to say, I think we spoke about this, but this was definitely something else. We've had a lot of Ethereum-based news the last couple of days, and I think this is also something because I don't remember saying the name Harbor. Anyway, representing the shares of 4 real estate funds worth $100 million US. The move is intended to make these private securities easier to trade for the 1,100 investors that hold them, along with 17 broker-dealers and placement agents that work with the fund's manager, iCap Equity. They said, for years, we've been looking for ways to create the best investment experience we can, and for us, that means providing liquidity for them. The news also represents a strategic shift for Harbor from helping clients raise funds by selling security tokens to provide an infrastructure layer for such instruments. Harbor evolved from crowdfunding and tokens to being the Salesforce.com of the security token industry. This was said by Josh Stein, CEO of San Francisco-based Harbor. Wonderful for them. Golf clap for Harbor. The point for us is that, once again, for those of you who have been paying attention for the last 3 weeks, for some reason, Ethereum is always in the headlines. Ethereum is always in the news about a company, country, organization, business, bank, anything that deals with large sums of money. They're all using Ethereum. So this one now has $100 million US worth of real estate funds on top of Ethereum. This is happening every single day. And you'll realize why this is quite significant in a bit. I find it quite fascinating. This has to, in my opinion, this has to be leading to something. The amount of good news that we've had for Ethereum the last 3 weeks, the interest or re-interest, yeah, that's a word, in Ethereum, as well as the coming up soonness of the updates for Ethereum, are all too coordinated, in my opinion. I believe in some, what's the word? Not happenstance, like coincidences. You know, that's fine. But the news is constantly, every single day, that there's a new institution who, once again, regardless of Ethereum's shortcomings, not fast movings, is still using them and or tokenizing something on their platform. So yeah, I assume, I just throw it out there. I'm going to roughly assume that by the end of this week, we will have at least one more company come forward. And by the end of next week, we should have at least 1 or 2 more on that week, also announcing that they're also going to be using Ethereum. Quite fascinating. I wonder where this is all leading to. Once again, I assume that Ethereum is not, or rather, I expect future-wise Ethereum to do incredibly well, because simply just follow the money. Why would you tokenize $100 million worth of anything and put it on top of a blockchain that you did not think was going to make it, or that you did not have some type of a hint of the future prospects of it succeeding, if that makes any sense? No one's putting $100 million into anything that they're not sure of. That's kind of the takeaway from it. Let's move on. So as much as I wish this was a bit more entertaining, employees of Big Four auditing firm known as Deloitte can now pay for food in the canteen using a mobile Bitcoin wallet. Big Four auditing firm Deloitte is now allowing staff to pay for its food in the canteen using a Bitcoin wallet. English language local news outlet Luxembourg Times reported today that Deloitte is testing Bitcoin among its employees to see how the audit giant could use the cryptocurrency. Partner at the advisory arm of the company, Laurent Collet, commented on the project by saying, "We think it's good to have our employees assess this new technology." First of all, Deloitte is huge. They are one of the Big Four auditing firms in the world. The weird part is, and I don't mean this as a joke, This was listed on at least 17 different websites. Depending on the day, depending on the coin, Ethereum can have incredibly good news, and I mean like really good news. I'll find it on maybe 2.5 websites. The third website will make sure to throw dirt on Ethereum. XRP can have amazing news. We can have actual news of partnerships with MoneyGram, Western Union, blah, 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 blah. And it'll appear maybe on 6 different websites. 2 more after that talking about how this is actually negative for Ripple and XRP. For some reason, Deloitte allowing their staff to pay for their lunch, 1 meal out of 3, in Bitcoin made it to nearly every single cryptocurrency website that I go to. Maybe I'm missing the significance of a company like Deloitte allowing people to pay for their lunch in Bitcoin. All this news story tells me, in my opinion, is that being a major institution who probably, if you are in a large firm allowing your employees to pay for stuff in Bitcoin, this tells me you know what Bitcoin is. And you as a company probably have Bitcoin yourself and are probably trying to accumulate more. Logically, why would they allow Bitcoin if there wasn't some type of an ulterior motive? I believe, in my opinion, that motive is probably they are trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as they can for themselves. And one way of doing so as a company is by saying, hey, if you buy food within our barriers, use your Bitcoin. And the Bitcoin logically probably also goes to them. This is all I can kind of surmise. Is that a word? I can come up with in my head as to why they would be doing this. I'm not joking. This was everywhere. And what's even weirder is that we've had news stories like this before where like really weird random things were like Dogecoin could have, I can't even think of anything. Like just something ridiculous, and it'll be on every single website. But for some reason, like a lot of the really important news doesn't kind of make it sometimes. Anyway, if you are working at Deloitte, you can now use Bitcoin to buy salami. I think that's what people eat for lunch. Anyway, like I said, this was everywhere, so I thought I'd cover it. Maybe it means something to someone because it was all over the place. Anyway, let's move on. In interestinglier news, not a word, the head of financial consultancy giant De Beer says that the Federal Reserve is likely to inadvertently push the price of Bitcoin higher this week. Nigel Green says he thinks that the U.S. central bank will likely decide to cut interest rates at its meeting on the 18th of September. This was reported by Value Walk. He says, and I do quote, "The Fed looks likely to follow the European Central Bank and cut rates this week by perhaps 0.25 percentage point. This comes after it slashed interest rates for the first time in a decade in July on U.S.-China trade war tensions," end quote. Oh, no, continues on. Still quoting, "Bitcoin, the world's largest cryptocurrency by market cap, is likely to break out of its recent sideways trading pattern and be given a healthy boost by the Fed's rate cut. This is because an interest rate cut reduces the incentive to keep the fiat currency. In addition, rate cuts typically lead to higher inflation, which reduces the purchasing power of traditional currencies." Without reading any further, lots of quotes. What we saw a couple of days ago, wasn't it yesterday? There was a one of the videos. It was like a compilation point where someone had listed, what was it, like 18 companies? No, countries. Who had all decided to have rate cuts over the last 9 months. So it appears that tomorrow, no one knows if it is going to happen. There will be a discussion by the Fed. However, no one knows if a rate cut is going to happen. But the idea is, if there is a cut, it'll be because that the Federal Reserve believes that the economy is looking rather glum or gloomy, and that something must be done in order to kind of keep things afloat. What we've seen before is that Bitcoin has reacted to rate cuts, but not in the way that many analysts thought that it was going to, i.e., we've heard before a couple of weeks ago that people thought that every single time that there was a rate cut by any country, that the price of Bitcoin would shoot up 10, 20, 30, 40, 15, 95,000 billion %, and it has not done so. It's moved up a tiny bit, but we have for what it's worth, been stuck in that trading range for quite a bit of time. The point being is, as we had people last week talking about that this week, there would be a movement in Bitcoin's price. Something is happening, which I'm going to get to in a little tiny bit. Is this also part of it? Yeah, this is also part of it. It's a major discussion right now. Obviously, all of the major names and or analysts within the cryptocurrency space, especially a lot of seasoned traders, people who have been trading or in the market for a very long time and or tell other people their trades. I don't even know how to finish that sentence. Have been speculating that this rate cut will help to push Bitcoin higher. And then we get into that discussion of exactly how high that Bitcoin is going to go. I'm not going to say the numbers out loud simply because it's kind of just on repeat. We will know within the next 3.5 months if these things have come to fruition. However, it is going to be an interesting day tomorrow. I think interesting the next 5 days because of all the stuff that's happening within the cryptocurrency space. To kind of finish things off, for those of you who have not been looking and or paying attention, it says Ethereum bulls are back in full swing. As of the time of writing this, Ethereum's price has just topped $210 US, pushing up by some 6% over the past 24 hours. It was actually like 6-7% over the last like 13 hours. The strong move higher marks the end of a massive downtrend for Ethereum in terms of its USD and Bitcoin pair. And analysts say this upward price action may not end any time soon. Here's a little beautiful chart right here. For the first time in a blue moon, love that phrase, Ethereum is showing some brawn. Over most of 2018, the cryptocurrency had a horrible showing, collapsing from an all-time high of 1,400 to double digits, representing an early 95% drawdown. Simultaneously, the Ether-Bitcoin pair tumbled to pre-ICO bubble levels. Right now, for some reason, we still do not know why. I think we've been talking about this earlier as well. We saw that Ethereum was moving up. There's still no news as to why it's actually moving. The only thing that I can think of at the moment is that we keep continuously getting news like this, that there is some type of a mega company who's putting hundreds of millions of dollars, billions and trillions and quintillions of dollars on top of Ethereum. They're listing this, they're putting securities, they're doing this, and so and so and so. And also that we are not far off. We are closer than ever before. We're closer than 2016 for Ethereum's upgrades. These are the only things I can think of. Besides that, no real other news about Ethereum. That's about it. I mean, to be fair, it's nice to see that a coin is actually reacting to good news, if you know what I'm talking about. First of all, the point is, if you have a company, if this was the only one putting $100 million worth of funds onto Ethereum, that alone should move the price. The fact that we've had this multiple times, going to assume that this is significant in some sort of way, and this may be why potentially joining the two forces together, building on top of Ethereum, and also upgrades coming soon, this could be the reason for the price movements. The interesting part is that we are now having discussions that if Ethereum continues to move higher than where we currently are, it says if we remain above $200, which has acted as an important line of support over the past year, a move above $250 to $300 is entirely possible. People are thinking or speculating, once again, this is all tying together too obviously for me, that if the price continues to move up, we could, COULD, be at the beginning of the altcoin season, which we just spoke about last week, and I guess more or less have spoken about sprinkled across the last couple of months. Because Ethereum is a market leader, for those of you who do not know that, Ethereum, much like Bitcoin, is paired heavily across many other altcoins in the cryptocurrency space, i.e. before in the past, if you wanted to trade cryptocurrencies, you had to. It was a must to trade against Bitcoin. Now we have a situation where typically it is between Bitcoin, Ether, and XRP. Ether usually having more spots than XRP, what have you, who cares, continuing on. So if Ether does well, altcoins also simultaneously also do well as well. Anyway, also speculation, but I mean, the timing of all the companies building on top of Ethereum, the Fed rate cut tomorrow, back to launching on Monday, Hopefully this is brewing into something. I'm trying not to get my hopes up. It is quite difficult. Anyway, as always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple Lemon J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Mill Wheezy, JR, Mechanic, Strange Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cold D, 3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas, Run Earth, One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich the Third, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Chest every day, and Kyle skips leg day every day. And yes, to crypto, thank you all very much for your support. For those of you who are not looking at the screen right now, everything's up except for Tether, which is good. Tether is going down. That means the market. That means my English accent almost popped out. That means that the market is flowing back up. At the moment, Ethereum is currently at $208 US, up almost 9% is nice to see. XRP is at 29 cents, up around 12%. Anything else super significant? Lumens is up almost 10. Tron is also almost up over 11. It's looking pretty good. I'm hoping that this continues. All of the stable coins, more or less, USD coin, USDC coin, Paxos are down, True USD as well. Hopefully this is a continued movement in the market. I assume we will see by tomorrow morning if this has continued. Trying not to hold my breath once again, but my goodness, it would be nice. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all, every single one of you, once again, for watching and or listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.